Millennials just can't seem to stop killing things. I mean, whether it's Applebee's, diamonds, mayonnaise, golf, housing, so on, millennials just can't stop murdering American institutions. I mean, take the latest one. Divorce. Wait, what? According to new data, millennials, by far, and of course some members of Gen X, are actually getting divorced far less than the previous generations, baby boomers especially. Now, according to analysis by the University of Maryland sociology professor Philip Cohen, the U.S. divorce rate has dropped 18% between the years of 2008 and 2016. Fascinating. Now, Suzanne Brown, a sociology professor at Bowling Green State University, the site of that horrible massacre, by the way, our prayers go out to you, thoughts and prayers, said the change among young people is particularly striking, and says the characteristics of young married couples today signal a sustained decline in divorce rates in the coming years. So basically, millennials are fantastic at not divorcing people. Wonderful. Except that's not really the whole story. In fact, it actually gets dark. So let's get to more factors here. Now, the thing is, it's not that millennials are fantastic at staying together. The factors that are driving this more is, for one, millennials aren't getting married as much, and also the fact that the boomers are literally terrible. Young people are getting credit for fewer divorces because boomers have continued to divorce at unusually high rates all the way into their 60s and 70s. So you still got old people divorcing. Turns out I spent 40 years with you and I didn't even like you. Well, why spend 40 years? I know, they stay together for the kids, right? Which is another thing that millennials are apparently also avoiding, is having children too young, as the teen pregnancy rate is way, way down, according to analysis by the Guttmacher Institute. Now, let's go back to more of the Bowling Green's National Center for Family and Marriage Research statistics here. They said from 1990 to 2015, the divorce rate doubled for people aged 55 to 64 and even tripled for Americans 65 and older. Cohen's results suggest this trend, called gray divorce, may have leveled out in the past decade, but boomers are still divorcing at much higher rates than previous generations did at similar ages. So it's not that we're fantastic, and even though we do divorce less than boomers, or we divorce less than overall, partly that trend is because boomers were so terrible in the first place at not staying together. That's amazing. So on to the stuff that we're doing right. Well, I mentioned it earlier. We're not getting married as much, right? And we're also doing it later. And a lot of people are waiting till they have, good jobs and a decent education. So no more getting married as soon as you get out of high school, 18, 20 years old. No, that time is usually spent trying to get a college degree in order to try to hope to get at least a decent job that pays the bills. And that's what we've been doing. Okay. Now, what's interesting about that, a lot of people are waiting for good jobs and good money, right? And trying to get an education for that. That is a good symptom, or I should say a bad symptom, of our uncertain economic times. In fact, many poorer and less educated Americans are opting not to get married at all. They are living together, raising kids together, but not actually getting married, which is interesting. And studies have shown that these cohabitating relationships are actually less stable than they used to be. So, look, this is the economic reality for millennials. The institution of marriage now is more reserved towards people who have more money instead of the poor. Now, that's not saying that everybody who gets married is wealthy. I'm married. I'm nowhere near wealthy. But I also got married at the courthouse and didn't have a wedding. I couldn't afford a wedding then and I can't afford a wedding now. So it's incredibly expensive. But the thing is that what's driving this trend among millennials is the fact that we grew up in the midst of the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. That experience has damaged a lot of us as a generation. Stagnant wages, right? The cost of getting an education, the cost of buying houses, the cost of buying cars. A lot of people don't have access to any of those things. You know, we're the Uber generation, we're the renter generation. And it's because of those terrible economic factors. So there's not a lot of people that can get married in the first place. And if you're not getting married in the first place, it's less likely to divorce. Also, if you get older, or, you know, married when you're older, there's a better chance that you're, you know, more stable, more mature, and also not as likely to get divorced. So marriage, again, is basically something that either millennials can't do or don't really want to do. Just like owning a home, buying a brand new car, having a family. It's a lot of this economic factors, which, of course, is all connected with the massive amounts of income and wealth disparity in this country. So maybe instead of blaming millennials for killing all these things, including marriage and divorce, maybe we should start looking at the real culprit: modern American style capitalism. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.